Now, the Prime Minister has claimed that people smugglers were given an open invitation to send migrants to the UK, and he said he was angry about the scale of illegal immigration as he convened a summit once again, this time involving 40 countries, to address the problem yesterday, where he also reiterated his pledge to smash the gangs. But one person who doesn't buy that pledge from Keir Starmer, actually he doesn't believe a single word of it, is the chairman of Migration Watch, and that's Alp Mehmet, who joins me now in the studio. Alp, you wrote a seething, scathing piece in today's Daily Mail saying you don't believe a word that delusional Keir Starmer says about smashing the gangs. The truth is he's giving up on securing Britain's borders. Tell us why.
Well, he said that he was angry, that the Prime Minister is angry about it all. Not nearly as angry as the rest of the country, frankly. All the promises, and what have we had? After he was smashing the gangs during the election, that's what we heard over and over again. They were going to do away with the backlog. They were going to do all sorts of things. And what's happened? The number of people in hotels has grown. They were going to do away with that. The number of people in the backlog has grown. And the number of people crossing the channel has shot up. It's 30% more than it was in 2022, when by year's end we had 45,500. If that rate continues, by the end of the year, we're looking at 60,000 people crossing in boats that we know about.
60,000.
If it continues, what the government needs to do is actually some firm action. They've got to send out the message that once you get here, if you get here illegally, make your way illegally, you're not going to be able to stay, and start removing people. Do you know, the bill that's going through Parliament now, the Border Security, Asylum and Immigration Bill, titled that long, it's actually going to make it more encouraging for the traffickers. There's no mention in that bill, not a single word, about removals. The only deterrent that was in place, and the only promise the government has kept, was to remove the Rwanda arrangement, to do away with the act that put that in place. Now, what sort of commitment is that?
Well, Alp, yesterday, Yvette Cooper and Keir Starmer reiterated that fact that 24,000 have been deported since the Labour Party came into power, an increase on the previous government. You're not impressed by that?
No, I'm not impressed by that, actually. Far from it. What they didn't tell us was how many of those were actually volunteers. How many of those were going back to the easy countries? You know, all the low fruit. Yeah, it's easy enough to send people back to Albania, where we've got a deal, and other places that there is no question of them being unsafe. But what about all those who come in claiming to be one thing or another, that are from countries where we don't have deals with, where we can't send them back? How many of those who crossed the channel over the last 5 years illegally have been returned? We never hear about that, do we? You know why? Because something like 5% or thereabouts have actually been returned of those who crossed the channel legally, of the figures that I've seen.
Alp, Rishi Sunak promised to stop the boats. He couldn't. So Keir Starmer is promising to smash the gangs. Do you fear that, like King Canute, once again, we have somebody in charge who simply cannot stop this tide?
Well, they can't stop it, and they won't stop it because they won't take the necessary action. Look, if you look at those who we can't send back, the reasons why we can't send them back, the ECHR, the European Convention on Human Rights, they will find all sorts of spurious reasons why they can't be sent back to the country that they hail from. Or the Human Rights Act, which embeds the ECHR in our law. Until you look seriously at those two acts and that convention, or that act and that convention, and remove it from the scene, then I'm afraid you're going to be getting nowhere.
It's round and round we go. Groundhog Day once again. It's great to have your company in the studio. Thank you very much. Alp Mehmet, of course, the chairman of Migration Watch UK. Always a pleasure. Thank you.